Awesome.
Okay.
Right then, you can, because Federica, because it's just you, you can leave your microphone on if you want, and then just interrupt as you feel you need to ask questions. Federica, we've got Lorraine with us as well. Lorraine deals with the application side of things. I always say any complicated questions, and I deal with all the pedagogic questions. So if you've got any, let me just focus in on that. So if you've got any difficult questions, ask Lorraine. Otherwise, I will do my best to answer. Right then. Okay, right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just introduce the programme, tell you a bit about how we're developing it for next year. We've had the programme signed off at last, so we've got new modules that I'll be able to tell you about officially. Tell you about typical students and the Gen Learning model, a couple of the big assignments we do, the live digital consultancy and the real life digital marketing assignment. And I won't tell you about the campus because you just have a look, but it's lovely. And I'll tell you a bit about the benefits of joining the course. As you can see from this and this and all of this, all of our classrooms have been fitted out with HyFlex things. So if, and let's hope this doesn't happen, but if we have to not come into the classroom again, or if for any reason you can't get in, so you know you're poorly, but you want to follow the course, you can do that. It's all set up for studying at distance for those that can't come in, subject to the rules that we have to play by. But we are ready for anything that life can throw at us. That was this year when we actually managed to take a photo, which we didn't see. This year was the COVID year, and I didn't meet them until I think like the second to last weekend. This year we started off outside, and this was 2 years ago when we started off in a classroom. Happy days. And we're going back to that now. Right, who's the course for? This is one of the first questions that I always get asked, and essentially I characterize the course as being a toolbox that you can use in all sorts of different work environments. So if you're interested in management and digital or consultancy or marketing or communications or international business or project management and agile, all of these things are in the course, and they're really transferable skills. So my mindset is very much that you're very much better off getting transferable skills that you can use in lots of different jobs and industries, because there is every possibility that the first job you go into, you'll think this isn't necessarily where I want to be, or in 10 years' time, you'll think I need a new challenge. And you'll have all of these skills in your toolbox to be able to go and find out a new exciting challenge. And that means that you're going to have a really rewarding work career. So we've got this mission statement to educate and empower the new generation of digital leaders to be ready to rise for the digital and other challenges faced by businesses and wider society, ethically, sustainably, and with humanity. The amazing thing about that is I wrote that before COVID hit, and where it seemed to become suddenly much more relevant. The idea is actually to have at the end of the course people that don't just have a set of prescribed competencies that you have to get the diploma, but actually to have people who can think in the round about what's best for business, what's best ethically for our environment, for society, so that they turn out to be much better managers in the future. We are very much focused on having a very international course. Our lecturers come from all around the world. Sorry, I put my hand over its head there. But our lecturers come from all around the world. There are some others that aren't on the screen. It's all done in English. The reason that we that we like to have students from all around the world and lecturers from all around the world is quite simply, if you're doing digital marketing, quite often things are seen purely from a Western and European viewpoint, and digital business doesn't really respect boundaries. So if you understand how other cultures, countries, communities react to different stimuli, you'll be able to do business much better around the world. So we have these 5 core competencies that we've been teaching to. We started this year. The course assessments from next year will be very much focused on deliverables that are that target these 5 competencies: creation of a sustainable digital strategy, management of a digital project, deployment of a digital marketing strategy, running a digital communications campaign, and defining an e-commerce strategy. You'll find that there is some written work, but actually a lot of it's very practical. Just to give one example, for the last one, you literally create an e-commerce website. And you pull together all sorts of different elements that you've learned throughout the year to make sure that the whole strategy works. So there's a lot of very practical work involved, which I think makes the learning experience much better. The course is designed around those competencies, and you can split each of the elements into one of these sort of 4 main headings. It doesn't. We used to teach very much based on modules and think in terms of modules back in the olden days. But as we've transitioned to these competencies in a more integrated course, you'll find that while we have these module headings and we have these module sessions, they actually interlink much more than they used to. So we've got these 4 broad topics: 1, digital project management; 1, analytics and measuring; 1, digital communications; and another is what I call overarching management skills. And these are the sort of subtopics that go within them. The idea being that we find that there will always be elements within the course that a particular student will find more challenging than another. I tend to characterize this as left brain and right brain. So the analytics and measuring stuff, some people find very difficult, but they tend then to be much better at the digital communication stuff, which is more creative, and vice versa. However, in terms of management, these 2 bits at the top are kind of the key, because you can manage a project, manage a team, manage a business, and as long as you understand these parts, you can specialize in whichever bit you want. But what's key is actually being able to understand how all these elements come together. And you don't have to be, if you're more creative and less analytical, you don't have to be an expert in the analytical stuff. You can concentrate your efforts on the digital communication side, whilst actually still being able to understand the analytics and what you need to measure and how you measure it. You don't have to be, expert in everything. It's more about understanding how everything fits together. In terms of timings, I always get really scared at this bit because I've missed a bit or done something wrong. Classes September to, I have done something wrong. Classes September to June. Live digital consultancy starts sort of December, January time and then runs on till June. And the thesis, you defend the thesis in the December after at the end of the year. So So for people starting in 2022, you defend your thesis in December 2023. So you work on that document throughout the summer and the early autumn before handing it in and doing your thesis defence. I put these on the other slide, but these are the modules for next year. Lorraine will send out a copy of this slide deck in the next couple of days, but we've got some brand new modules in for next year. Those include mental health and well-being, which we have put either side. So in December and January, the course goes online because you need to know how to work online. Obviously, you probably do at the moment, but it's a good practice to understand how to work in groups online. We use that period in December and January. It has a side benefit, is you manage to miss some of the inevitable transport issues that you have in Paris over that period. But either side of that, we give you some mental health and wellbeing training so that you can put those skills into practice while you're doing the online session, and then you can use that as feedback after the online sessions. Digital knowledge management strategy, which is a new module for us. Gamification and nudge theory. Those two are, we've got Charis Lee and Isabella Sieber doing those two, with the potential for one other person in the digital knowledge management strategy section, which is all about how you can harness data within an organisation. That's really interesting, but not to do with measuring, but actually harnessing. Then we've got the Big Data and Internet of Things session is bigger and better than it was before. And it's a full 3 days, I think. And we've also put into the calendar this year, which we haven't done in the past, we've scheduled time for you to do your projects so that your businesses know there are certain days where actually you're not going to be there, but you're going to be working on your projects with your teams. So at the end of the course, you will end up with your MS Manager des Stratégies Digitales, which is the official name, Digital Strategy Management, Master Spécialisé. You will end up with a PSM1 certification, so that's the Scrum certification, which, like your MS Manager des Stratégies Digitales, is valid for life. You will end up with 2 Google certifications with the little asterisks to say subject to if Google changes their certifications, which hopefully they won't, they haven't in the last few years. You'll have an incredible network of people, both in terms of your lecturers and the people in the room, your fellow students. And you're going to have the skills and competencies to help you succeed in your career and have the varied and fulfilling career that can make a real difference to your work life. Another question we get asked a lot: what's a standard student? We have, it's very difficult to tranche the class and say, you know, we've got this group and this group, but one of the ways we can do is we have PGE students who are doing their PGE now at GEM, and we have execs, so the external students who have already graduated and are at work or are looking to improve their skills. This group of people can be anything between like mid-20s to 50-something, and their experiences can be incredibly diverse. They can come from all around the world with all sorts of different backgrounds, and that's something that we try and strive to make sure we have every year, because that means we have a much richer learning experience throughout the year, because everyone can bring something into the classroom. This is one of my favourite slides, or two of my favourite slides. Every year I do a version of this slide. It's the slide of the nationalities of the people that are in the room this year, including the lecturers. So as you can see, and I've missed one off. Someone mentioned this year that I've missed one off. Problem is I can't remember which one I've missed off. I will ask the students again next time I see them. But we have a lot of different nationalities in the classroom, a lot of different backgrounds, and a lot of different viewpoints that can be brought to discussions. The GEM learning model, it comes back to what I was just saying there about everyone bringing something into the classroom. The GEM learning model is all about everyone being a co-creator and a co-learner in the class. And I always say to my lecturers, that includes you. So everyone has something to bring, not necessarily to every lecture. Sometimes there will be things that are so new they can't, they don't have something that they can add. But literally everyone has something to add, even when people think they can't. Their own experiences that that they've had in life, in work, in study. There's things that people can bring. And it's that sort of co-learning, co-creation model that makes this so different. It makes it great to teach as well, because you're never quite sure what someone's going to bring. I always personally judge how well a teaching session has gone by what I've learned as well. So it's as much about bringing information out of people as it is about giving our own experiences. There is this element of flipped teaching, so students do teach the class as well as the lecturers. A lot of group work, a lot of exchanging of ideas. In terms of the practical exercises, we've got a couple of things that I'll show you now. If you go to medium.com/digital-gems, you will find, I think we're up to, I can't remember, I think we're up to about 70 or so articles on different topics, digital topics, commerce topics, all sorts of different things, gaming, NFTs, crypto, privacy. I was trying to think what else is there. There's stuff about e-commerce in China, all sorts of different things. And this is part of one of the tasks that we give to students, one of the ways we assess students. It's a real world marketing exercise. You've got to write articles, you've got to research them, create multimedia content, put them online, engage with people, come up with a strategy as to how you engage people and increase the audience. It's a really, really good exercise. And actually you can go on to medium.com/digital-gems and have a look at what they've produced. I have something like 25 articles that I've got to mark right now. So there will be more in the coming days if I get a moment to mark them. But they're really good. They're really good. We also have the live digital consultancy exercise, which used to be called the Live Business Case. We have real world clients, big clients, who will come to us. These are some of the ones that have done it in the past. They will provide the groups within the class with a problem, an issue. It's up to that consultancy group to provide them with answers, to research it, to report back. And there's a whole process that goes into that. And they have to do a formal report and a formal presentation to the companies, which is a great opportunity to put yourself in front of some of the companies as well as developing consultancy skills. But there's some fantastic companies of all sorts of sizes, all sorts of backgrounds, It's a really, really good, valuable exercise, that one. We've already signed up a new big client for next year, actually, which I'm not going to tell you about just yet because I don't want to give the surprise away. Paris campus looks like this. You saw it outside. I showed you live. So it really does look like that. And it is lovely. It's just, as you can see on this park down here, it's just south of Montparnasse. It's on the T3 line, or T3A, I think it is, line, the tram line that goes across the south of Paris. It's really easy to get to. Lovely places to eat roundabout, and places to socialise now that we're allowed to do that again.
Yeah, we are not so far then.
Oh, yeah, you live nearby?
In the 15, yes. I guess 20 minutes per walk from there.
Well, the only problem with that is there is this. It's just one of these true facts of life. The closest you are to the place where you're going, the more likely you are to be late. Now that I stay at a hotel that's further, so there's a hotel just next door that some people use. I mean, literally there. Right, I can see it from here. And whenever I've stayed in that hotel, I have been late for lectures, right? And it's 2 minutes walk from there, right? But now that I'm further away, I leave more time, and therefore I always get here on time.
Yeah, I do agree with you. It's always like this. More you are close, the worse it is.
But it's much better for getting home afterwards. There is that. That's the best thing. Okay, so super handy for you, super handy for you. But yeah, look, it's a fantastic area to study as well. Okay, key benefits, cutting edge program. We literally, there are times when we're writing this in the morning. There are sometimes one of the subjects that I teach is social media. Sometimes things change overnight and I have to redo the slides. We're always updating it. We've been in the process of updating it, adding digital knowledge management and mental health and other topics to make sure that it's always up to date. It is entirely focused on digital strategy and being able to manage digital projects. And everything that entails. So you know, the geopolitics element is really important because it underlines the context of how we do business. We use traditional teachers, people with PhDs who are researchers in the school. We use practitioners, people who do this stuff day to day in their business life, and professionals from the digital sector. We have consultants that we use for the consultancy exercise. We have Mathieu Tramvin, for instance, who is an absolute expert on the analytics side of things. He used to work for Google, recently moved business, but he's been working for Google for years. So we've got people who really know how this stuff works in the real world. Everything's done in English. We've got these innovative ways of doing things. We've got these Scrum certifications, things that employers really want. Very practical exercises, so you've got real skills. We try and improve your digital footprint so that it makes it easy for you to find a job. The learning environment's fantastic. We've learned so much from the fact that we've all got these different backgrounds. And we've got this mix of execs and traditional students, which is always great fun in the first weekend, because the older students think that the younger students know everything, and the younger students think that the older students know everything. And normally by the end of the first week, they realise that actually they just all know different stuff, and collectively they know quite a lot. It doesn't take too long for them to work that out. This is these two last slides, the next two slides, I find really difficult, because people say to me, and when we put dossiers together and so on, people say, what sort of jobs do people go into? And my standard, almost sarcastic response is, what sort of jobs do people not go into? We have had we've got people who are now chief marketing officers, we've got consultants, we've got digital consultants, we've got entrepreneurs, we've got people who work in data mining, we've got people who work in conversational marketing and AI. There's so many different sectors you can go into using the skills that you get from this course. And the other thing is, some people stay in France, some people go off to other countries. It's amazing when you're looking through LinkedIn, it's actually made LinkedIn much more fun for me, to see where people have gone. They're going all around the world in different companies of all sorts of different sizes, and really making the most of all the skills that they've got. Final thing is, we are still waiting for feedback from France Compétences on our application for a teacher. We hope to get a response from them towards the end of April, although we're still waiting and been waiting. We have a limited number of places on the course, so if you do want to apply, I would suggest applying early while there are still places, because obviously when eventually we do get the teacher, which hopefully will be very soon, we would expect more applications to come in, and we only have a limited number of places in the class, and actually 2/3 of them have already gone, so we have a small number of places in the classroom. That's the end of the presentation.